Just who are Trump voters? I went to Las Vegas, site of the final GOP debate of 2015, and set up my own focus group of real Trump supporters to ask the big question. Why?
Why I like Trump is he's not a politician.
He's not going to take any crap from anybody.
He has no filters.
That's a good thing, right? Just we're on the same page?
Oh, yes. Do you want a president in there that really walks on eggshells and not wanting to hurt this community or that community?
Yes.
So a president that says things like this?
When Mexico sends its people, they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists.
Did he say every single person that comes across our borders are criminals, rapists, and drug dealers? I believe what he said, a majority of them. And you know what? They're not disputing that. Nobody's disputing the figures. Look at the people that are coming across the border illegally. Are the vast majority reputable people that want to give to the community?
Yeah.
I'm saying a vast majority of them that are caught by the border guards, smuggling drugs and raping women and everything else. Unfortunately, a vast majority of them are overshadowing the good ones.
In that statement, you had like 4 vast majorities.
Vast majority.
I mean, do actual statistics matter to you guys?
I think the statistics are there.
I think the vast majority of your statistics are bull.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, that could very well be.
Okay, so if facts don't matter to them, what does matter?
Trump came out and said he wants to ban all Muslims from coming to this country.
He's not singling out this group because of their religious beliefs.
But he is choosing their religion as the one identifier to keep them out.
Maybe he's not as articulate as we would like.
He says a lot of things that we probably are thinking or want to say.
Have you ever said, I think we should stop all members of one religion from entering into our country?
No, but it's just you got to start somewhere.
Okay.
I think what everyone's overlooking, though, is that Trump has brought this to the forefront. Maybe it was crude. Maybe a lot of us don't agree with that position. But what he has done is everyone's talking about it.
I mean, I could walk into my friend's apartment, take a on his rug, and now everybody's talking about whether they should get a new rug. That doesn't make me the good guy.
Negative attention sometimes is a good thing. It's better than no attention at all.
Okay, so their candidate dropping a deuce is a worthwhile conversation starter. But what about the that comes out of his mouth?
I want to play a little game called Who Said It? Donald Trump or Racist Sandwich? Hi, I smell like roast beef, and I think Mexicans are here to rape people and commit crimes.
I'm going with sandwich on that one.
Sandwich.
Racist sandwich.
You are right. Okay, another one. Tell me who said this, Donald Trump or a racist sandwich? I have a great relationship with the blacks. I've always had a great relationship with the blacks.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
You seem like you're holding out.
Me?
Yeah.
I'd say Trump, too. I was thinking about that for a second.
Yeah. This is the guy that you guys are going to vote for, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 things I hate, banana peppers and Muslims.
Racist sandwich.
You're thinking on that one.
I did think about it, but yeah.
I mean, you're actually thinking about it? It's difficult to tell the difference between what a racist sandwich would say and your presidential candidate? It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
But is there any line that Donald Trump can cross that might cause them to change their vote?
All right, this game is called Trump Card. Drop the Donald face if it would cause Donald Trump to lose your vote. All right? Would you support Donald Trump if he made fun of a disabled reporter? Still voting for him. Made fun of all Chinese people. Everybody still cool with that? Okay. Just trying to find that line. Just looking for that line. Would you support Donald Trump if he said there should be a registry for all Muslims? National Registry of Jews.
I still see 2 Trumps in the air.
Okay. Just because it's good to know where the Jews are? You're in it to win it.
I tried for hours and hours, rigorously studying these fascinating creatures. This is a group that doesn't like statistics, thinks Muslims need not apply. Some would consider rounding up the Jews. But how are there so many of them?
For some reason, Trump, the more bizarre he gets, the more people like him.
But why? Yeah, you're one of those people.
I'm one of those people.
Why?
At last, we had reached common ground. Even some Trump supporters can't wrap their head around why people support Trump.